In the frostbitten silence of the forgotten wastelands, two warrior sisters, Lyra and Nyx, arrive at the ruins of an ancient stronghold, chasing whispers of a relic said to bend time itself. Their bodies bear the markings of old magic, their eyes hardened by battles lost and won. But this place is different. It remembers. As they step deeper into the shattered stone and snow, the ground groans beneath them. A rusted mechanical trap, forgotten by time but not by purpose, springs to life, crushing Lyra beneath its brutal weight. Her screams echo through the icy wind as Nyx battles to free her, their strength tested, their bond pushed to the edge. But pain isn't the only thing awakening here. The ruins tremble. Forgotten memories bleed into the present. Spectral watchers gather on the cliffs, silent and watching. Something ancient stirs beneath the earth. Something that knows them, calls to them. They came seeking power. They found a war that never ended. And now the true fight begins. The wind howled like a dying beast through the broken arches of the forgotten fortress. Snowflakes danced in chaotic spirals, kissing the jagged stones with icy fingertips. Amid the bitter cold and eerie silence, two figures emerged from the mountain pass. Warriors, cloaked not in fur or armor, but in scars and purpose. Lyra stepped forward first, her muscular frame gleaming faintly under the dim gray light. Her platinum-white hair was tangled by the wind, whipping like a flag of defiance. Beside her walked Nyx, slightly shorter, with eyes that flickered violet when the storm caught them just right. Both were marked, deep, glowing tattoos ran like fire across their limbs and sides, remnants of a bloodline long erased from history. The ruins ahead were colossal, half swallowed by snow, cracked by centuries of storms and war. Towers leaned like dying giants, their spines broken, their windows empty like hollow eyes. Once, this had been the seat of power for the Chrono Queens, the Time-binders who ruled reality through relics and ancient machines. Now, it was little more than dust and myth. "This is the place," Nyx murmured, her voice nearly drowned by the wind. Lyra nodded, her eyes scanning every shattered arch and crumbled step. "Then we find the heart before it finds us." The heart, an ancient relic said to manipulate time itself, had drawn the sisters across 3 dead continents, through firestorms, bandit kingdoms, and creatures made from bone and memory. It was said to pulse with the last breath of the Chrono Queen herself, sealed beneath the ruins for over 1,000 years. As they moved forward, boots crunching through a mix of stone, snow, and dried blood from ages past, a sudden stillness settled, the kind of quiet that makes even the wind retreat. They stopped. Lyra crouched, brushing aside the snow with her hand. Beneath it, a symbol etched into the stone, still glowing faintly beneath centuries of ice. A spiral, circled by 7 jagged lines. "The Queen's seal," she whispered. Nyx reached into her satchel and pulled out a small shard, an obsidian-like fragment they had recovered in the sands of Kelmora. It pulsed now in rhythm with the mark on the ground. "They're connected," she said. "The shard, it's reacting." Just as she said it, the ground trembled barely but enough. The stone under their feet shifted with a faint metallic click. Before they could react, a mechanical grinding tore through the silence. Massive gears began to turn beneath the surface, ancient and angry. Without warning, the floor gave way near Lyra's foot, and a twisted chunk of rusted machinery shot upward from a hidden vault below, catching her leg and pinning her to the ground. Lyra roared in pain, the force slamming her backwards onto the stone. Blood stained the snow. Nyx was at her side in an instant, eyes wide with panic and fury. "It's a trap," she screamed. "They left the machines active. After all this time." Lyra gritted her teeth, trying to move. "I can't feel my foot. Damn it, it's crushing the bone." Nyx grabbed the edge of the warped metal and pulled with all her might, but it was no use. The mechanism was locked. Old, yes, but strong. Stronger than either of them alone. Around them, the snow fell harder. The shadows grew deeper. From the edges of the ruins, dark figures began to appear, silent, watching. Neither beast nor man, as if the fortress itself had grown eyes. "They know we're here," Lyra growled. Nyx nodded grimly, drawing her curved dagger. "Then we'd better remind them why they feared us." The twisted metal that held Lyra's leg glowed faintly beneath the snow, like veins pulsing with an unnatural life. It wasn't just rusted debris, it was alive, in a way. Ancient machinery, once powered by time magic, still clung to its last breaths of purpose. And its purpose was to protect the ruins from intruders. Even now, Lyra's face contorted in pain as she fought the weight pressing down on her ankle. Blood seeped from beneath the jagged edge where metal met flesh, mixing with the snow in a bloom of crimson. Her breath fogged the air in heavy bursts. Nyx knelt beside her, trying again to lift the mechanical piece, her hands slipping over the cold surface. The gears that had emerged with it had already ground to a halt, but their purpose had been fulfilled. The trap had done its job. Now it waited. "You're bleeding too fast," Nyx muttered. "If we don't get you out soon." "I know," Lyra snapped, gritting her teeth. "Just think. There has to be a release point. A counter-rune. Something." Nyx scanned the ground. More sigils had revealed themselves beneath the snow, arranged in a circular pattern around the trap. She traced her fingers along them, murmuring fragments of the old tongue. Nothing responded. Suddenly, from the far side of the ruins, a low mechanical hum began to rise. Nyx looked up sharply. "What the hell is that?" In the distance, an arc of ancient stone cracked apart, and something began to crawl from the shadows, massive, lumbering, and wrong. A construct, fused with bone and old steel. Its face was a tangle of wires and iron teeth, glowing with a hollow light. A warden. Of course, Lyra groaned. The trap wasn't meant to kill. It was meant to delay, until the guardian arrived. The warden advanced slowly, its limbs clicking with unnatural precision, dragging a blade as tall as a man behind it. Snow hissed as it passed, evaporating from the heat of its body. Its empty gaze locked onto them. Nyx stood between it and her sister, blades drawn. Her breath was shallow, her heart pounding like thunder. "We don't have time to fight this thing," she muttered. "We need another way." Lyra's eyes flicked toward her pouch. The shard. Nyx hesitated. The shard pulsed faster now, reacting to the warden's approach and to the trap itself. "Try placing it in the seal," Lyra said through gritted teeth. "Maybe it resets the mechanism." With no time to argue, Nyx sprinted toward the central sigil. The shard in her hand burned hotter with each step. As she placed it into the center of the seal, the runes exploded in light, momentarily blinding her. A deep, metallic thud followed. The trap groaned, and then loosened. Lyra gasped as the pressure on her leg finally gave way, and she yanked herself free with a cry. But the warden was close now, too close. It raised its blade, and in that frozen second, Nyx threw her body forward, tackling Lyra into the snow as the weapon cleaved through the space they'd just occupied. The ground where Lyra had lain split open like paper. They tumbled down a short incline, rolling behind a broken wall. Lyra clutched her leg, wincing. Nyx pulled her up as the warden's heavy footsteps thundered behind them. "We have to move. Deeper into the ruins," Nyx said, her voice low but firm. "There's more down there. More traps, maybe, but also answers." Lyra nodded weakly. "Then, let's make sure we trigger the right ones this time." Behind them, the warden roared, a sound like a grinding clockwork heart, and began its pursuit again, relentless as time itself. The sisters moved deeper into the ruins, their path lit only by the flickering glow of Nyx's shard and the pulsing symbols etched into the ancient stone walls. Every step was a struggle. Lyra's leg bled with each motion, her jaw clenched against the pain, while Nyx kept a dagger in one hand and her free arm under Lyra's to support her. Behind them, the warden's footsteps had slowed, as if the fortress itself was guiding them inward rather than hunting them. Something had changed. The walls around them were no longer crumbling stone. They had entered a chamber where the past had refused to die. Golden light spilled from etched murals that shimmered like they were alive. Scenes of towering queens with jeweled crowns and swords of flame. They stood atop machines powered by time itself, bending the flow of existence like sculptors shaping clay. Nyx stopped, breath-catching. "It's real." Lyra glanced at one of the murals and froze. There, etched in vibrant detail, were two warrior women, nearly identical to them. Platinum hair, tattoos, even the same armor, though more regal. "They look like—" Lyra trailed off. "Us." Nyx finished. Suddenly, the chamber pulsed. The air grew thick. The shard in Nyx's pouch flared to life, and then cracked open like an eggshell. From within, a small burst of light flew upward, then scattered into hundreds of fragments that spun around the room. Time shifted. The murals moved. The figures within them turned their heads, eyes glowing, and began to speak, not with voices, but through thoughts that echoed in the sisters' minds. Blood returns to blood. The heirs awaken. Our time ends where yours begins. Lyra stumbled back. What is this? A memory? A message? Nyx's voice was barely a whisper. A warning. The chamber darkened briefly, then bloomed again in gold. Around them, spectral images flickered to life, ghosts of the past. Soldiers training in the courtyard. The queen herself walking the hall with a sword made of fractured time. Children playing with sparks that bent light and sound. All of it silent, all of it gone. And then the memory turned darker. The vision shifted. The same halls now burned. The queen fought off invaders, warped, soulless machines who had once been men. Her allies fell one by one. Her final act, sealing the relic in a hidden vault beneath the very chamber the sisters stood in. The queen looked up, directly at them, and said one word before vanishing: "Run." Suddenly, the warmth of the chamber turned to cold steel. The light died, and in the silence that followed, they heard the sound of the warden reactivating nearby, stronger, faster. No longer alone. Multiple heavy steps echoed now. More were coming. The ghosts were a delay, Lyra said. They stalled us, so the rest could catch up. But why show us the past? Nyx asked. Why tell us any of it? Lyra stared at the broken shard pieces in Nyx's hand. Because we're not just intruders. We're descendants. They wanted us to see who we are, before we're forced to die for it. From the far end of the chamber, a stone doorway began to slide open, revealing a staircase carved into darkness. Faint light pulsed below, like the heartbeat of something ancient, something alive. Nyx pulled Lyra toward it. "This isn't over," she said. "It's only just begun." And above them, the warden's roar split the silence once again, louder this time and not alone. The staircase was narrow and steep, carved directly into obsidian black stone that pulsed faintly under their feet. Each step echoed like a drumbeat from a heart buried deep beneath the mountain. The light below flickered, pale, golden, rhythmic, matching the pulse in Nyx's chest. Or was it the mountains? Behind them, the warden's roars faded, replaced by the sound of shifting gears and awakening guardians. Time was running out. At the base of the staircase, they entered a vast underground chamber. Unlike the crumbling ruins above, this space was untouched, preserved as if the war that ended the Chrono Queens had never reached here. Smooth stone arches rose in perfect symmetry, and at the center stood a colossal structure, a suspended hourglass spinning slowly, suspended in the air by invisible forces. Inside its glass, instead of sand, was light, liquid and swirling like molten stars. "The heart of time," Nyx whispered. Lyra's breath caught. The sight of it, impossible, beautiful, terrifying, sent a tremor through her bones. Her injured leg gave out, and she dropped to one knee. Nyx was beside her in an instant, supporting her again. "We're not supposed to just take it, are we?" Lyra said, looking at the relic. "There's more to this." Nyx nodded. "There's always more." As if answering them, the chamber responded. Runes flared to life across the walls and floor. The tattoos on their skin lit up, burning with golden fire. The hourglass rotated faster. A voice filled the chamber. Not a whisper or echo, but a living presence, ancient and feminine. Only those of blood and memory may command the flow. "Prove your bond. Prove your purpose." The floor beneath them shifted, forming a circular platform. They were lifted into the air, suspended before the hourglass as time itself seemed to slow. Visions poured into their minds. Lyra saw herself as a child, alone in a burning village, holding Nyx's hand as soldiers marched toward them. She saw her mother, a warrior who fought until her last breath to protect the shard she'd passed down. Nyx saw herself hiding in the ruins of their people, whispering the old tongue to keep her sister calm while others screamed. She saw their ancestors, queens of time, guiding them silently from beyond the veil. Tears welled in their eyes. They were not just survivors. They were inheritors. They had not stumbled into destiny. They had been born from it. The hourglass cracked, just slightly, but enough to release a beam of golden light that pierced both sisters' chests. Instead of pain, there was understanding, power, connection. The tattoos on their bodies extended, growing like living vines of light across their necks, faces, arms. Their clothes smoldered into ceremonial armor, regal and ancient, forged from memory. They were transforming, not into something new, but into what they were always meant to be. The last of the Chrono Queens. The light faded. The platform lowered. Lyra stood, fully healed, her legs strong again. "I felt everything," she said, voice stronger. "Every life before us. Every battle. Every failure." Nyx's eyes glowed softly. They didn't just die. They waited. For us. But peace was short-lived. A violent tremor tore through the chamber. The massive doors behind them exploded inward. The warden entered, now glowing red, accompanied by two others, larger and more jagged, their movements fueled by fury and time corruption. "They know what we've become," Lyra said, stepping forward. "And they're afraid." Nyx drew her blade, now transformed, rippling with golden energy. "Let them be." As the constructs charged, time itself bent around the sisters. The walls flickered. The floor shifted. Blades slowed midair. The world obeyed their will, for the first time. This wasn't survival anymore. This was retribution. The chamber trembled with every step the warden and its twin sentinels took. Their twisted frames, half machine, half forgotten magic, glowed with unstable red energy. Blades like obsidian cleavers spun into their arms. The air around them warped, time stuttering and rippling as they advanced. But the sisters did not run. They stood at the heart of the ruin, bathed in the soft, golden glow of the relic, reborn in armor etched with the symbols of their ancestors. The blood of queens and warriors surged through their veins. They were no longer fugitives, no longer survivors. They were the last guardians of time. "Nyx," Lyra said, raising her hand. "Left flank. I'll draw the core." Nyx nodded, eyes locked on the warden leader. "We end this. No resets. No running." The moment the constructs charged, time fractured. To the outside world, it may have looked like chaos. Steel meeting steel, sparks and roars, light bending and collapsing. But to Lyra and Nyx, it was a dance they had already learned, each movement guided by memories not their own from battles fought lifetimes ago. Lyra lunged at the central warden, her blade arcing in slow motion as she pulled time around herself. The creature swung a jagged blade, but she shifted just a second ahead, dodging it like she knew it was coming. Her sword struck true, slicing deep into its armored chest, revealing a pulsing red core. Across the chamber, Nyx moved like a ghost. Her body blinked between seconds, striking the flanking construct 3 times before it could respond. She carved glowing runes into its joints, severing the time streams that kept it upright. With one final blow to its neck, she shattered the corrupted link inside, and it collapsed like broken scaffolding. But the fight was far from over. The warden leader howled, its form splitting and stretching, becoming more chaotic as time bled from its broken body. It struck Lyra hard, sending her flying across the chamber, smashing into stone. Her golden armor cracked. Nyx screamed her sister's name and unleashed everything. She drew upon the relic, not just its light, but its memory. The room flickered with images of every Chrono Queen who came before. Their voices joined hers, guiding her hands, lending her strength. With a roar that cracked the air, Nyx raised her sword and launched herself at the warden. Lyra, bloodied but defiant, rose again. Together, they struck, one from above, one from below. Their blades met at the warden's core. A flash of gold, a ripple through time. Then, silence. The constructs collapsed, their red energy extinguished. The chamber dimmed, and time stabilized. The heartbeat of the relic slowed to a gentle pulse. It was over. The sisters stood in the silence, surrounded by the wreckage of history and victory. Their armor flickered, the runes fading slowly into dormancy. They were exhausted, changed, but alive. "I didn't think we'd make it," Lyra admitted, wiping blood from her lip. "We didn't," Nyx replied quietly. "They did. Through us." They turned to face the hourglass. Once more, the light inside it had calmed, no longer chaotic, but balanced. It had accepted them. And more than that, it had chosen them. "Do we take it?" Lyra asked. Nyx shook her head. "No. We guard it, like they did, but better." From the broken walls above, sunlight began to pierce through for the first time in centuries. The mountain was waking. Outside, a new world awaited, one still broken, still burning, but no longer forgotten. The last of the Chrono Queens had risen, and time belonged to them now.